Special guest. Great to have Mahershala Ali joining us right now. If you haven't seen Moonlight, go see it.
The 89th Academy Awards and Cinephile will be there. Get all the details at Cinephile, the Adnan Virk movie podcast. Available now on the ESPN app and iTunes. This is The Sporting Life on ESPN Radio and the ESPN app. Here's Jeremy Schaap.
Rollie Massimino is one of only about a dozen coaches to have won 800 games in college basketball. He reached the mark in December. He's been coaching for a decade now at Kaiser, formerly Northwood College in West Palm Beach, Florida. But he remains best known for the 1985 miracle win over Georgetown for the NCAA title when he was the head coach at Villanova University outside Philadelphia. Rollie Massimino, one of the most respected and storied careers in the annals of college basketball, joins us now. Coach Massimino, thank you for being with us. What was the significance for you of 800 wins?
Well, that means I'm coaching for a lot of years, certainly. You're bound to get more wins the longer you coach. That's what it's all about.
You're 82 now. You turned 82 in November. What do you still get out of the game?
Oh, it makes me young. I really enjoy. I have great assistant coaches that helps me out with everything that we do. And I've been very, very fortunate to have great assistant coaches over the years. And I'm proud to say that I have over 20 of them that became head coaches on a Division I level or two.
We're speaking with Rollie Massimino, the legendary college basketball coach, who's now 82 years old and just won his 800th game at the college level. Of course, last spring, your old school, Villanova, won its first national title since the win over Georgetown in 1985, and millions of people saw you on TV there for the celebration in Houston. What was that like for you to see one of those former assistants, Jay Wright, do what you had done in the same place 31 years later?
Yeah, it was wonderful. We've always kind of included ourselves as one big family. That was very, very important to me. And Jay has carried that over to extreme success and been wonderful, as has everyone else that's been involved in our game plans to grow and be the best they can be.
Rollie, when you moved to Florida about 13 years ago, the plan was to retire. Instead, you've added another decade to your coaching resume. Why can't you quit?
Coach Moliak was the baseball coach at Stony Brook, and he was the athletic director here in Florida, in West Palm Beach at Northwood. And he called and asked me if he'd like to start a program. And I said, that's the only way I can help, but I don't know if I want to coach continuously. And, of course, I had to get that cleared by my wife. And once I got there, beautiful campus and great place to play at, just decided to do it, and it's been a lot of fun. It's been great.
We're speaking with Rollie Massimino, who's been in coaching for 60 years. Well, and you worked with Chuck Daly as his assistant at Penn in the early 70s. You coached at Stony Brook. You mentioned Stony Brook on Long Island, part of the State University of New York system. Of course, all those years at Villanova and then at UNLV. When you think back, though, to 1985 and that remarkable game against John Thompson and Patrick Ewing's seemingly invincible Georgetown team, how much does that victory still mean to you?
Oh, it was a great opportunity, and we always liked competing against Georgetown. John Thompson was a friend and Father fun to be with. So it was really a competitive spirit that took place throughout our career at Villanova, Georgetown.
Do you miss the college basketball scene as it was in the 1980s? That the Big East what it meant, where it seemed like every week the games were epic?
Yeah, well, there was one weekend we played a number one team. The next weekend we played a number one team, only it was another team. They would between St. John's, Georgetown, Syracuse. They would switch from week to week. And it was great, whether we were competing against the best teams or voted for the best teams in the country. And that made it very, very competitive, and our kids were great. I've been very, very lucky. I had wonderful kids throughout my years of coaching. We just had the whole national championship team down to my house here in Florida 2 weeks ago. It was great. 14 of them showed up, and it's been a fun trip every year for the last 8 or 9.
Rollie, when people talk about you and the programs you've run over the years, a word that always comes up is family. How is basketball like family for you?
Well, because we learn, I try anyway, to teach the kids how to continue to grow up, everything they've gotten from their families, and now we continue to grow and win games and what it takes to win, but also what it takes to lose. And you still have to compete on every basis, every time you play, and that's going to happen in life. It might give them an emphasis every day and a thought for every day. And believe it or not, the kids remember that over the years, and we have to have a lot of fun expressing it to each other, I should say, after a group of years that have passed.
Rollie, for those our audience don't know, you've been battling brain cancer. I know you take a lot of medications that probably diminish your level of energy. How are you feeling right now?
My energy is almost the same. The only difference is that I used to run before the game just to relax and go. Now I sleep before game. Now I sleep, so there's a little bit different distraction between my ages.
I got to say, Rollie, I've been to banquets where you were the featured speaker, and nobody could command a room like you. Do you still do a lot of the banquet talks?
No, not as much. I just, I'm getting a little older for that, but I enjoy it and meet people, and it's nice to see people that remember a little bit about what went on. But I still just talked to Jay Wright this morning, and, I hear from all the guys every day.
What if you were going to give somebody advice about speaking publicly in front of a large audience? and as I said, there are very few who've done it better than you have. In addition to your basketball coaching acumen, what makes for a good public speaker?
Well, I don't know. I just try to be myself and enjoy and have fun. Tell a couple of bad jokes, and then go from there. I learned that from Tommy Lasorda. And then from there, just have a good time.
We're speaking with Rollie Massimino, one of the legendary college basketball coaches of his or any generation. Rollie, when you go to work each day and you still got those kids you're teaching, what do they teach you?
Well, you treat everyone pretty much the same, but you have to treat some of them differently. I make them come in every day individually to my office, even if it is 2 minutes. You know what I mean? And when they just say hello and how you doing. But every day they come in and say hello, and that's important to me. And they know that I'm trying to help them. I hope become better. That's what I tell them. I don't want anyone moaning and groaning, because I'm here to help you. Try to help you become a little bit better okay, both physically and mentally. That's what it's all about.
Rollie, Kaiser, obviously, it's not what we would call big time college basketball. It's NAIA Division II. The game at the Division I level, at its highest form in the college game, the way it's played now, the way teams are constituted now, the one and done, is it as much fun, you think, as it was back in the heyday?
Well, I'm lucky to know a couple of the major Division I people. Same with Jay. There's a lot of kids that grow up and don't understand just because they're great players. And I don't care what level you're on, because I treat my kids here at Kaiser University just like I've treated them at Villanova. And as I tell them, I have 5 children of myself and my wife, but we got to understand that you want to try to do the best you can. If you don't, you're not always going to win. You're gonna fail sometimes. You got to be ready to accept the fact of whether you're on Division II or whether you're Division I.
Do you still get a kick out of just being around the kids?
Oh yes, that's what makes me young. I still hang around with them. That's really important.
Rollie Massimino won the NCAA Division I championship in 1985 at Villanova. In December, he surpassed the 800 victory mark, becoming only the 13th coach ever to do so in college basketball. Now at Kaiser University. Rollie, thanks so much for having joined us here on The Sporting Life.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Nice speaking with you.
I'm Jeremy Schaap, and you can hear new episodes of The Sporting Life every Saturday morning at 7 Eastern Time on ESPN Radio and the ESPN app, with re-airs every Sunday morning at 6 Eastern.
Barry Jenkins is nominated for not only Best Director, but also Best Adapted Screenplay.
It's surreal, man. I've had a very privileged experience with this film.
The big screen's biggest night, the Oscars, and Cinephile will be there. Get all the details at Cinephile, the Adnan Virk movie podcast. Available now on the ESPN app and iTunes.
There is more to me, Queen Eliara of Elfgard, than my elven magic. Just as there's more to Geico than saving you money, Geico also gives you 24/7 access to licensed agents online, on the phone, or on the Geico app. And while I am a mighty elf queen, I am also a mighty big fan of barbecue potato chips. Minions! More smoky mesquite.
Geico. Expect great savings and a whole lot more.
The NBA All-Star Game this Sunday.
Here's Curry behind the back, half-court heave on its way, and he hits it!
Coverage begins Sunday at 7:30 Eastern on ESPN Radio and the ESPN app.